Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Still some folks joining us. I'm just gonna give it a minute, let everyone connect to audio. Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Broker Connect. My name is Kelly Galloway. I'm so glad you all could join us today. For those who don't know, Broker Connect is an interactive bi-weekly meeting with top brokers and ARIVE users where you can learn best practices, get insights into how other people are using the system, and just get a ton of tips. So we are so glad you can join us on this lovely Friday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm here today with Ryan Speltz of Greenlight Mortgage. I'm super happy to have him here, but before I turn it over to him to introduce himself and before we open up the floor to all of your questions, I just have a few pieces of business to take care of. I will try to be quick for you. So for those of you who do not know, we offer really a lot of weekly learning opportunities here at ARIVE, and these are all completely free. We really encourage everyone to take advantage of these opportunities. So we have an onboarding and Q&A session. This is offered every Monday, Tuesday at 2:30. Actually, we split these up. So we recently split these into two sessions. So Monday we have user settings and account configuration class, and then Tuesday is a company and admin training. And then we also have two sessions of new user training every Wednesday. We have a part 1 and part 2. These are very comprehensive trainings. So if you are new users, we really encourage you to go through these trainings. So it'll really help you to know everything there is to know about ARIVE if you are a new user. And then we have a session called Live with ARIVE. This was previously called ARIVE. We've just rebranded this. It's called ARIVE Live Q&A. So previously called Ask ARIVE, it's now called ARIVE Live Q&A with our product experts. This is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, where you can jump in, ask your questions directly with our product experts, screen share, get your questions answered. This is, again, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Sorry, everyone, I'm just letting people in the room still. And then we have a processor-specific training on Wednesdays. We have an AE training session. This is offered once per month on the second Wednesday. Our next session is August 14th. So if you want your AEs to just be better versed on the system and be better partners to you, send them to that training. We also have ARIVE University every other Friday. This is where you can learn about every update that's made to the system and just every enhancement and really be so if you want to be up to date on everything that's changed on the system, everything that is enhanced, make sure you go to that session that is run by our CEO, Harish, and that's every other Friday. And then we have this session. So when ARIVE University is not running, Broker Connect is running. All right, and you can sign up for all of these events on arrive.com/events. And that is the most I will be talking throughout this session. I promise that is the last time you probably will hear my voice, or at least that's the most amount of talking you will hear from me. And now I want to let our actual host talk, the reason why you all are here. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan so he can do all of the talking from here on out. Ryan, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and your brokerage. Why don't you take it away?
Sure. I am Ryan Speltz, the kick butt mortgage guy, and I live in St. Petersburg, Florida. Am I muted? Nope. Okay, good. Yeah, so appreciate the intro of why everyone's here, but I'm pretty sure they're here to learn, not necessarily just to listen to me. So I will I'll let everybody kind of ask some questions and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been in the industry for 10 years, experienced the broker model now for about a year and a half, and was in retail in a couple different setups for about 8.5 years there. So been in the industry quite a while, seen some interesting operating systems, some of the well-known ones, some of the not so well-known ones, and started out, I believe, in probably one of the more difficult ones, and then went to the Cadillac, as everyone called it. And then I after switching to Arrive, there's not another one that I would switch to. So, I'm not a power user by any means, but I do have a lot of the stuff that other people aren't utilizing. There's a lot of things in there that you can utilize to really set yourself apart, and it doesn't take a whole lot of technical ability to do it. And that's really what I've liked, is being able to, even apart from my CRM, being able to utilize Arrive to kind of send out communication that's not, may take you 20 minutes every single time, and now it takes you 3 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of self-bragging to do or anything like that. So if there's any questions about, what you guys have going on, I would encourage you to ask them. And but I do work for currently two brokerages actually at the same time, because I'm in transition and starting my own. So currently I work for Greenlight Mortgage. And I do see Ethan Frizzell on here, and I know that name. So there is one name in here I know that I saw, but yeah, so work for Greenlight Mortgage currently, and I'm currently in the process of launching Creative First Mortgage, which is going to kind of be my brainchild, and evolving into a lot of the non-QM stuff and a lot of the out of the box lending that you're not going to see, mainstream at this point. Everybody's heard of DSCR loans, but there's so many more opportunities out there to help people be able to buy homes, and I'm priding myself on being on the forefront of those different types of loan programs. And the great thing with Arrive that I found is being able to utilize Arrive for all of that stuff. It's not that big of a jump to be able to put that stuff into the system as well. So yeah, so if there's any questions, I mean, I'm just going to kind of open it up to Q&A and see where things are going. So Ethan, I saw you said hi there. We're like right down the street from each other too. So like he's like 10 minutes from me, I think. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I see people are utilizing the chat over here, so that's awesome. So I do want to encourage everyone, if you would like to, we definitely encourage obviously open communication here. So if you feel comfortable, we would love for you to take yourself off of mute, jump right into the conversation here, ask your questions directly to Ryan, or if you maybe are feeling a little shy or your microphone is broken, you can drop your question right into the chat and we will read them aloud. But I do just want to encourage everyone to actually ask your questions. This session really only works if everyone asks their questions. If you don't ask your questions, we really don't have much to talk about. So make sure you are communicating. Let's all have a good session here.
current
Okay.
favorite feature. So thanks, John, for that question. We'll just jump with the one that went to the chat box there, because that's the easiest one. But John Bridger asked, how about going over your current favorite features of the platform from your perspective? That's a wide-ranging answer. However, my favorite thing is the ease of use of just the flowing of the pages. And so, like I mentioned, I've come from 3 or 4 other LOSs, and I feel like Arrive kind of encompasses all of the good things about them. My favorite features is being able to, and my absolute favorite feature, because I do something that not a lot of other people do, is incorporating video in the communication. And like being able to put that directly into the templates is so huge, and it creates a personal environment that, like I said, I would bet, and I'm just going to throw out a random number, but I would bet less than 5% of LOs actually do this. And it's extremely easy to do, because Arrive allows you to upload them to YouTube and then just copy the embed link and put it into your templates. And then it pops up and it's got the play button, and it clicks play and it plays the video. So not only can you communicate like everybody else does with just your normal, hey, you're approved. I have video out there that's celebrating. I've got dancing videos when we get clear to close. So I'm able to like really put in my personal like energy into those emails, instead of just using standard templates and like, hey, you're approved, here's what come next. Like that's boring. Like be yourself, and that really is what creates the environment. So that if I'm picking one feature, that's probably my favorite feature. So there's a couple questions there. I'll stay on the video one, and then I'll come back to Joe's. So Mavi Rodriguez asked, how do you send videos to client via Arrive? I'm gonna defer here to Kelly after I answer my version of it, but in the templates, the email templates, when you go in to edit them, there's a way to put a YouTube video embedded into those. So it's like a standard video. You're not gonna, have different types of videos in there. Um, but in that template, you're able to just put in your standard video. Now, the other way that I've done this, where if I do want to create a custom video, is when you go to send the email from the template, you can actually edit the template before you send it out. Like you click the edit button, and then you can throw in a personalized video or like a link to a personalized video or something like that, so that you're creating that extra piece for them where you mention their name or you mention their, whatever you need to mention that's specific to them. Is there an easier way to do that, Kelly?
I am going to toss it over to someone on our team. Does that sound like the best way to go about that, or is that maybe a different way or an easiest way? Anyone from the ARIVE team want to chime in?
Kelly, what was the question? I'm sorry, I was
What's
right.
the easiest way if someone wants to maybe send a custom video?
Like through Arrive?
Yeah, so the question is, I was explaining how I embed videos into my templates. And so the
Yeah.
question became, how do you send videos to the client via Arrive? So I would assume that he was trying to say like individual custom like videos that they want to send out to one person. Like, can they record a video and put it into an email?
Yeah, I mean, like if you use Loom, it's very easy to drop a Loom link into any email. And what's nice about the Arrive emails is that you're always given an opportunity to review the email before it goes out and add or remove anything from it. There's not like a generate generic email button within Arrive, you know. Sometimes you're just better off using your email for something like that. But if you want to record a video and then drop like the Loom link into the email before you hit send, that's definitely an option. I think what you're doing with the templates is probably the most common use case I see for firing videos from Arrive is getting video content that's scalable and repeatable and just putting it in your templates.
Yep, and I've done the link way as well, and utilizing just a couple of uses I've used for those is being able to, if you're sending out a rate quote from Arrive and you have a compare and you've set it all up and you got the two fee sheets next to each other and the breakdowns, you can record your video via Loom or any of, BombBomb or any of those, whatever, just something that hosts the video. So John, I'm answering your second question here. Does it have, or does it not have to be YouTube? It can be just an API from your cell phone. Yes and no. You have to have a hosting link for it. So it would have to be hosted somewhere. You can't just upload the video directly to the email. You'd have to have some place for it to be hosted. So like he mentioned, Loom or BombBomb or YouTube or anything like that. So you just copy and paste the link to those codes. Yes, Jenna, to embed it, you can use the embed link and then it will put the GIF or whatever into the email that way. So going back to Joe Faro, talking about I'm new to Arrive and wanted to get feedback on the best CRM to work with Arrive. I am not going to name any names in this space. That's a dangerous place to go. But I do use one of the forms of Go High Level with mine, and the embed goes through Zapier. And with the Zapier integration with Arrive, everything becomes pretty easy to set up on the other side. My Go High Level is a custom different version of Go High Level, and I'm more than happy to discuss that with you after this if you want to reach out to me and anything like that. But it does pair well with it, and I do believe Arrive has been discussing rolling out a CRM, but I'm not the salesperson or the person who knows anything about it, so I'll let that one kind of go by the wayside on that. But there's a lot of ways to link Arrive directly to your CRM. Yeah, John, I think there's going to be a lot of advantage to have that Arrive CRM as well.
Ryan, I just want to say hey.
Hey,
And
man.
being on the loan partner side, I didn't know what to expect in this meeting, so I didn't come into it with any questions. And I want to participate, but I don't do a ton of the marketing or like reaching out to our like previous clients or anything yet. So I think I'm just gonna have to come to the next one with some questions because I want to get into that soon. But I didn't
I
want to
think
leave
there's a, I
it
think
just
there's
so I
a
know it
good
takes
thing
a
there.
lot of courage to do these.
Oh yeah, you know I'm not afraid to jump on a video, but
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of use case there for you as well, Ethan, in utilizing it as a loan partner as well. That gives a little bit of a different perspective, right? Because you're not setting up the templates, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not creating that conversation. So, when you go out and you're triggering something in Arrive, again, this is probably based off of brokerage and whoever you're working with, and I wouldn't say step on anybody's toes, but
Mhm.
you can utilize Arrive to, you could be the custom person that's sending that out, right? They're working with you. They want to see your face, so you could still do the video, embed it into that email, even though it's coming out of Arrive as a template. You'd still be able to kind of work your personality into those emails a little bit more than just sending out the conditions list, or you've been approved and it says you've been approved, and all of that stuff. So I'm sure there's a way for you to be able to work in your personality, and that's the biggest thing for these clients, is being able to see who you are instead of just seeing the same emails come across every single time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's something I'll have to work with the boss man on.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure he's open to different ideas, and being able to work through that stuff too. So um John Bridger asks, how do you use Arrive to evaluate and store different loan scenarios for clients? Honestly, this isn't something I've really explored in depth, as far as different loan scenarios. I am coming from a retail model for 8 years. I learned how to sell against lower rates for a very, very long time. I was in a call center model with a high comp model, and there was times where I had to sell a rate that was a point higher than somebody else. And so I rarely focus on rate at all in a conversation, because and you can tell just by the way I'm talking about how my communications go out, it's not about that. It's the long-term relationship with this client and being able to build the trust. And we're in a broker model. We have the best rate and scenario. It's just, what day do they ask you and what day do they ask the other person, right? Like, we all have the same scenarios. We all have the same ability to price exactly the same. If you want to do a loan for 50 basis points, you can do that in a borrower paid scenario. That's the way it works. So and I know some brokerages work a little differently, but this is part of launching the new brokerage, is to kind of get into the place of just like, you know, we know we're a price leader in the market, and we can do whatever we need to do to be that price leader. So I don't generally store different loan scenarios or anything like that. If I'm sending something out that, like, maybe it's a client that's come to me for 3 or 4 different homes, what I'm probably doing in that scenario is sending them out a range of scenarios, and I'm not storing them necessarily, but just doing the compare aspect in the pricing model, and showing them, like, okay, here's if you buy at 300, here's if you buy at 275, 250, to whatever. That's kind of how I'm sending that out. So there's probably efficiencies I'm missing in that model, but it's something that, like I said, I don't generally focus on terms and pricing. And I make sure to explain what they're getting, which takes it a step farther than most people that focus on rate and term anyway. So it's all about building that personal relationship with a client. So how do I request to complete a loan application on Arrive? Borrowers get confused because it says upload loan application and sign. I'm not exactly sure what screen you're talking about there. I have had some difficulty with where, if they start the application and they don't finish it and I send it to them, they either don't log in or they start a new one. I have had that where then I get a duplicate loan. I just close out the old one and start with the new one. Like, I again, focusing on some of these as a problem just creates and makes a bigger problem for you that you're probably not experiencing on every single one. But Mavi, I would encourage you to get with support. If you're seeing something that's happening on every single loan, absolutely get with support. Send it in the chat message, because they respond very quickly. And make sure to take screenshots, or have your clients take screenshots, so that you can actually show them what you're seeing. But that sounds like something in the settings, because I've never had a borrower ask me, like, how do I upload the loan application? There's a lot of functionality there that can most likely avoid what you're seeing.
Okay, thank you so much. But is it better if I specify the documents that the clients need to sign or upload before sending a link? Because when I send the link to invite them, it always starts with change the password or register for a new account. If I want them to upload specific documents, is it better to specify it by sending the client needs that I want them to accomplish?
Yeah, are you saying so after they've completed their portion of the application, they filled in all their personal information? Is that when you're asking about?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So after they've kind of completed the application, I would say, I think you're noticing that up in that corner where it says send invite to them, you can either select full application or documents. If they've filled out the application, absolutely send it document only. And I say that out of experience because I've had a very, very difficult loan that we did. It was a VA loan, and everything had to be like buttoned up and perfect. I think we beat residual income on this loan by like $9 to make it qualify, and everything had to be perfect. And I accidentally sent it application, and we hadn't like locked the application down, and he went in and edited his income and like threw the whole thing off. So I got to do all my work all over again. So I would say after they fill out the application initially, absolutely send it document only. And then, with the settings that Arrive allows you, once they finish that application, there should be a way, and I know there is a way to create a list of documents based off of what they enter, and then that system will automatically provide that needs list for them. So that's how we utilize it.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, can I also create like a sample account on Arrive? Just for us to see what the borrower sees when they create an application from the link we send.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done that where I'll send the link, just click the link for myself. And you just, enter whatever fake information you want to enter to go through the process. I would actually encourage you to do that so that if and when somebody gets stuck on a screen, you can show them what the next steps are, right? You want to know what's going on there. And then just once you get it in, you just, close it out as if it wasn't a file that needed to be there. So I would absolutely recommend going through the application for yourself so that you can see the steps.
Okay, thank you so much, Ryan.
You bet. Joe Faro says, have you had any success with the Realtor portal as it is today? This is something that I've started utilizing a little bit more with the trusted Realtor partners I have. Creating the custom link for them is fantastic. Like you can go in and you tie that agent to you as the loan officer, and then they have a custom link that they will send to their borrowers, and then that person is able to be tied to that realtor. So it automatically imports that realtor's information in there, so you know where the loan came from. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've had clients fill out applications and I have no clue where they came from. And it blows my mind that realtors still do this to this day. Like they don't reach out and be like, hey, I sent you this person or whatever. I end up with an application and I have no idea how they got to me, which is cool to end up with free money in your account. But like, I really want to know who I'm working with. So I really use that custom link for the realtor portal. And if I'm being 100% honest, I've only utilized the actual realtor portal piece one time for one agent, and he just likes it because he puts in a lot of offers. Like his buyers have been, lowball buyers in a lower price point, and so he puts in a lot of offers. So he goes in and edits gets the pre-approval letters himself. So haven't had massive success as far as the actual portal itself goes, but the links are far and above. You get to create a custom link that's branded with your realtor's information to put in front of the buyers. So
yeah, Ryan, that was my concern when I looked at the realtor portal with the ability for the realtor to do the pre-approval or pre-qualification letters, or actually it's only pre-approval letters. You're not able to put any conditions like sale of house and other items that could be very important to that pre-approval. And I felt that was a short. I mean, I think what they're doing is a 10 out of 10, but I feel the execution is much less because you can get yourself in trouble with them, especially if the realtor has the ability to come up with letters and you don't have those specific conditions in there.
Yeah, I think there's, obviously there's always opportunity to grow a platform, and especially something like that I mean, honestly, while it sounds and seems very simple, I know the complexity on the back end of something like that. I was involved with a company that had launched something like this about 7 or 8 years ago, and so they were very ahead of their time. And it was a cluster on the backside. There's a lot of technicality that goes into it to pull those out. But yes, I would assume that there'd be a way eventually, and maybe that's just a feature recommendation coming from you, Joe. I think that's a solid feature recommendation to put in if it's not already in there. I do know like setting the conditions for the pre-approval access, allowing that is setting those limits and stuff in there. It definitely holds them to those limits. So there's some stuff that you can do there. Ultimately we can all create like these scenarios as well that kind of happen, and maybe it's happened a couple of times to you recently or a few times to you recently, so it seems like it's this super big issue, right? Like I talked about earlier with the storing different loan scenarios. If we create them and make them like these big issues when they're like kind of one-off things, then we get in trouble because we're only focusing on those issues. The other piece of that is communication solves a lot of the issues that you would see. So an agent should not be submitting an offer really without talking to you. But if they need a pre-approval letter on a weekend, they already understand, oh, he needs to sell his house first so we can submit this offer. It's just going to be contingent, right? So as long as you're having those conversations before you're giving them access, it's not a catch-all. It's not a like, here's a tool that will work no matter what you need it for. It's a tool so that you don't have to go in at 9 o'clock on a Saturday because the 9 to 5 agent that comes in is working nights because she has a full-time job and needs to submit an offer. So it's kind of like a secondary thing. And so that's really why like I've used it so sparingly, is because a lot of times agents can do that, but like I said, communication solves a lot of those worries and creates a different environment for you.
Yeah, no, I have already made that recommendation. I just want to talk to somebody who's actually used the portal and see what they've seen out of it. That's all. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for asking the question. I
Ryan,
think it's a good conversation.
just to jump in here for Joe, we actually have I built an integration on the back end from Arrive into a system called Lender Logics that has it's a quick qual thing that does have that restriction. So Joe, if you're looking to send out like automated stuff that agents can log in and do, the Arrive thing's pretty good, but we used quick qual in the past, so that's what all of our agents were used to when we switched to Arrive. But it has that restriction where you can check a box and it'll show up on the pre-approval if you want it to. Personally, we never put that on pre-approvals. We'll let the agent know, and the agent will let them know as part of the offer, but we'll actually never ever put that on a letter. Just for our internal purposes, we don't do that. But it's Lender Logics with an X is the company. They're out of Buffalo.
Thank you.
So definitely there's some other complementary tools for sure that can be utilized. Darlene Reynolds asks, how do you organize your loans view to manage your pipeline? I've had to create multiple views for different LOs and just wondering what best practices you'd recommend. So for my individual production, it's pretty straightforward. I just work through the loans. Managing pipeline, I mean, again, this is one of those things like as a branch manager or a broker owner, you may have more exposure to this because you do have to go through the multiple views and save those things. Honestly, saving those lists and the reports that you can pull, it creates a one-click access to it. So when you're saying I've had to create multiple views for different LOs, I guess, can I ask you what that sentence means? Are you creating different multiple views for yourself, or are you saying like you have to go in for multiple LOs and separate out them?
Yeah, for their individuals. Everybody wants something different. So I know they have to set it up on their individual views, but I kind of do it for them, and then they mirror it. So example, like one for lock expirations, one just for purchases. And then on the admin side, obviously we monitor the TRID compliance, things. So it's just like a lot of different things. It seemed like the Cadillac system you were referring to, I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same one. It just was a little easier to put multiple needs in one view, if you will. So I was just curious kind of where you ended on this.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, or to be open with that, I don't do a lot of customization of that stuff. I'm not a big reports guy. I've got my, the CRM that partners with Arrive and utilizing that. I also just go through the statuses. And so, in my personal production, I'm in the all file pretty much all the time. But then if I want to go, okay, I need to go back through and find like figure out who hasn't finished an application or figure out those things, I'm going through and going into prospect with and opening it up to all time and going, okay, why haven't these applications been completed? Or am I missing docs on these or whatever? And utilizing whether it's a calendar system or a CRM behind it, you're able to set up alerts for yourself and tasks and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I work through that. But yeah, I mean, as far as the reporting goes, I haven't really dove into that as much. Obviously, as a broker owner, I will be very much getting into that stuff here soon. But yeah, in the position I was in, I didn't necessarily need to run reports or anything like that. But yeah, I didn't think I answered your question at all. But there's
well, basically they
you know,
have to manage their own pipeline, is what I'm hearing.
for sure, yeah,
The
and
tools are
really
there.
like like it sounds like you've got a great like you do kind of the concierge thing for them of setting it up, but ultimately at that point, like if they want something to change, have them jump into some of these trainings and work with the Arrive team to get what they need out of it instead of putting that all on your back to figure out. Like you know Arrive's not going to send them outside of your bubble or create anything. And honestly, if I was in your spot, managing multiple LOs, I would even work into like a sales management, like when you do your management meetings, I would work in what did you learn about Arrive this week? And just like throw out like one fact that you did, like, and you can duplicate this across all of your systems, right? Because you're going to have those people like me that literally will sit here and just work through it and figure it out on my own and click a bunch of buttons until I can get it to do what I want. And then you're going to have the people that are going to come back to you and go, I can't figure out how to get my lock dates updated. Can you help me with that? And you're going to have that long range of people. It's just another thing to add to the learning list. And, we all know how much we have to know as LOs. And so creating that kind of environment, would probably be helpful for those that are in different spots, wanting different things.
Sounds good. Thanks.
It's a great idea. All right. We've had a great conversation so far. A lot has been asked and answered. So I appreciate everyone coming with all of the questions and energy today. We have, a little under a half hour left. So I want to encourage everyone, get their questions out. We have, Ryan has so generously volunteered his time. We do not pay our hosts. I don't know if that's a rumor around here, but we don't pay
really?
Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you, Ryan. We're not paying you for your time today. So he's so generously volunteered his time today. So we want to make sure we are really utilizing him for his generous time this afternoon. So please, if you have questions, make sure you are unmuting yourself. You are dropping them in the chats. Let's keep the conversation going.
So I'll quickly answer John's off-topic one there. I like the sidebar, but John, I've actually been sober for 3.5 years. So my favorite cocktail is an energy drink. So that's about as extreme as it gets with me at this point. So, so Miles says, I'm extremely new to Arrive, so I don't know where I can find online tutorials or anything about driving the system. Is there somewhere I can go to see the quick tutorials? Yes, absolutely. I know for sure there's two launch links that watching them gets you all the basics and you can stop and pause and go back. And so I'm sure Kelly can hook you up with those. And then, there's a ton of stuff that even just going into that little blue button in the bottom right corner and messaging them about an individual question you have, they will send you something back that will teach you exactly what you need to know. And they're quick with it and it's great. So I would encourage you to utilize that little chat box. And then I've had success in the broker Facebook group as well, putting out there something that like, a lot of people aren't guaranteeing that you're underutilizing that. Crowdfunding information where people figure things out. And I know we just had that in here, right? Like somebody was like, oh, I need this solution. And somebody goes, well, here it is. It's invaluable in the LO community. And I really think like if there's a problem with the LO community, it's that everybody keeps all of their good stuff to themselves. And like we could be really much better at sharing all of what we have with other people so that everybody has a better experience with ARIVE LOs. So I'm sure, Kelly, would you send that out, or you want to put it in the chat box?
Yep, I'm going to drop a couple links. I'm going to drop a link to our support site, which has a ton of webinars and training videos and all kinds of stuff. And I'm also going to drop a link to our Facebook group, which, as you said, Ryan, is just a wealth of knowledge. So pretty much every question that you can think of has probably been asked in that Facebook group. So you can utilize the search bar in the Facebook group. And like I said, you will probably find an answer there. But if for some reason, you can't find an answer there, drop your question in our Facebook group and you will find a ton of people who are happy to answer your question. And if for some reason, one of the members of the Facebook group can't answer your question, I'm sure someone from our team is happy to answer your question there. Our CEO is often in that Facebook group all of the time. All of our team members are in and out of that Facebook group, monitoring that Facebook group all of the time. So, you can always get answers in that group. So I'm going to drop a few links in there in just a second.
Files, it's called ARIVE Mortgage Brokers is the group. And she'll put the link below. Julie Lemond asked, does ARIVE support quality control functionality? Not something I've dealt with, so I will deflect on that one to Kelly or someone on the ARIVE team.
Yeah, Kelly, I can take that really quick. So, Julie, we just recently released business automation rules. So in the company admin settings, there are a lot of toggles that you can use to kind of restrict certain user roles from being able to access loans once they proceed to a certain status. So for instance, once a loan's been disclosed, maybe you don't have a loan officer have editing ability any longer. So you can set those up from an admin perspective. You can limit LO's putting in licensing and several other features, read-only features. But from a quality control point of view, we do have business automation rules that we released within the last couple of weeks. So definitely go check out the ARIVE University that we had last time. Our CEO went through those in detail, but you can absolutely set up business rules that say, hey, don't let a loan proceed to this status until we have these items checked. You also have the ability to put in custom fields within ARIVE. So if your brokerage wants some piece of data that we don't currently collect on the 1003 or within the ARIVE LOS, you can make your own custom fields. So maybe you create a custom field that says, if this field isn't filled out, then this loan can't move to processing, for instance. So you do have the ability to build custom automation rules that apply to the company level. And most recently, we are releasing them at the branch level as well. And I expect in the future, we'll release them all the way down to a user level, but that isn't currently available. But I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Jenna.
Answers one of mine. Wrote that down. Wrote that one down.
Ryan, is there anything else that you've kind of worked on as far as your CRM or integrations in and out around? I mean, no, it's not. That's sorry. It's not definitively ARIVE based, but is there anything you're using like with the video as far as, or anything else like integration wise, third-party applications that you've connected?
Yeah, we don't have enough time, but nothing directly connected with ARIVE. Where I've been currently, it's that's company-based kind of stuff, and so integrating that kind of stuff is difficult. Obviously,
Right.
UWM portal is there, Zapier's there. Those two things, being able to utilize those to send information back and forth. Ultimately, as far as video goes, I mean, like I said, we could go. That's a whole nother day. But I've been able to utilize like StreamYard, YouTube, creating all of those to create a little bit higher level of production than just like this crappy lighting that I have going on right now. Like creating an environment of like I know what I'm doing kind of thing. And so really, like, if I have a specialty, it's creating video and creating content that resonates with the people that it needs to resonate with. And so that's kind of my focus, and just being myself and really putting in that personality stuff. So I search out for things like that. One of the greatest tools that I've found, and now it's escaping my brain on what it is a website that allows you to purchase individual applications with a one-time fee instead of utilizing the ones that cost you a bunch of money. over and over again, and they all integrate basically the same way. So, you know, like the Calendly thing and like that kind of stuff, and utilizing those different things that, you know, just cost saving methods instead of using that stuff. And then working
Yeah.
them back in, you know, like I said, with Arrive, you can utilize and work those things back in with the video stuff extremely well and extremely easy through that, you know, by just creating the video, which takes you 5 minutes, and then copying and pasting a link into the embed functionality, and then it pops into the email just like it would, you know, that it's just like what you would want out of it. So, so yeah, if there is a specialty, it's video. And, you know, like I said, I can get you some content on what I've created there, but I definitely wouldn't want to to occupy the Arrive call.
Yeah, no, cool. Yeah, outside of like Home IQ and like maybe one or two other things, we've done the rest pretty much out of our CRM. But there's like one or two pieces of Arrive that are difficult to integrate as far as the data points are concerned. So I know they're looking at kind of updating this app sometime soon. So I hope that happens. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure they're, you know, obviously the demand across the industry, you know, with them growing and expanding, and like even just the range of questions we've had here today creates a lot of environment for whether it's actually improving or whether it's just showing what's already there, right? Like allowing people to understand that. So Miles, and I think Jen had kind of answered this, but I had access to a blend tool. Prior to this, there was a co-pilot feature that allowed the borrower to connect live and fill out the app while I watched in some case continued the application. Then do we have the functionality of letting the customer drive the application while we watch, aka co-pilot? Jenna says, do not currently have that ability, but as your borrower is advancing through the application, we're updating the LOS live so you can see what they are entering. And I have firsthand experience with this, where borrowers are going through saying they're filling something out and it won't let them go any farther, and they're skipping the question that, you know, we've told them to answer. So, you know, I've had really good luck with being able to, or not really good luck, but really good access to that, and being able to explain like, okay, well, you're skipping, or you're trying to skip something that's extremely, like trying to skip birth date or social security number. Like, I understand you're entering it on the internet and you're a little worried about it, but we can't really do anything without that. And so, you know, it's just kind of stuff like that where you can watch along with them. Or honestly, Miles, if you're looking at doing that, I mean, you could create a Zoom type setup if you wanted to, and send them a Zoom link, open the Arrive application, share your screen with them, and there's your blend or your co-pilot or whatever you wanted to talk about. You know, you can be able to enter the information as you ask them directly, if you wanted to create that type of an experience. Because once they start the application, and really even before, you can start the application for them and send them the invite link. You can create that environment, you know, with just a slightly different tool.
Yeah, and I'll just answer your question, Miles. So when you're in a loan application, if you have a borrower that's struggling or they're getting frustrated, you definitely don't want them to keep struggling. So you can go into the loan file, and on the top right-hand corner, there's 3 dots. And there is an option that says take over client app. So you can basically take over that app so they're not working on it anymore, and you can take it over the phone. So that's also another option for you to do.
Yep. And then John mentions, I do think there's a screen share feature using a generic PC type app. Client would have to give you permission to take over their mouse. Not simple though. Zoom has the ability to do this extremely well. I do it on the daily with loan officers. So once you get them, you know, into that Zoom setup with them, you can go in and do the 3 dots on the app, take over the client app, send them the Zoom link, share your screen with them. They tell you everything as you're typing it in, or you can go to their screen and type it in. I don't know why that necessarily would give you an advantage being inside their screen versus yours, but the Zoom does have that ability to request remote access and be able to click through their computer.
All right. Couple more minutes here, gang. What else do we have for Ryan?
Really liking this like extra stuff. Like people are driving to like get better than the basic loan officer, right? Like the amount of times I've seen, like I sent them the link 3 times and they couldn't figure it out. It's like, okay, you did that instead of just making one phone call and filling it out for them. Like there's too much of that for sure. So you know, it's you know, and I said it a couple times now, like a lot of the things that we complain about as loan officers really aren't problems. We just make them problems because we don't have enough bigger problems. So being able to kind of minimize the level of what we're going through, and just finding the right paths to talk to people to get the information is huge. So thanks for engaging, John. That's good. So yeah, any other questions? Looks like we got like 10 to 15 minutes left here.
Yeah. What else do we have for Ryan? I mean, listen, we can wrap it up early, but I want to make sure everyone on this call has had a chance to ask all of their questions. So what else do we have?
Some lurkers in here.
I know. All right. Oh. Miles, are you having trouble?
Actually, yeah. When I click that link, it brings me to the webinars and trading videos page, but there's nothing that shows up besides the title.
Oh,
Might be
yeah,
a
you
cache issue.
logged in.
Gotcha. Okay.
You
Makes
do
sense.
have to be logged in to access that. Thanks, Lernda. All right, y'all, I'm going to call it. Going once. All right, well, I'm going to give a huge shout out to our host, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here. This was a really awesome session. We normally don't get really this in depth. I think we covered a lot of things that we don't normally cover. So I want to thank you, Ryan, so much for being here. This was a really good one. Yeah, I appreciate all the info too. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And a big shout out, Ryan. Thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, you know, our hosts really take the time out of their day. They don't get paid for doing this. We really appreciate your time here today. We know that you're busy. And thank you so much, Ryan. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm an open book and more than willing to help anybody, anywhere, anytime. So, however, I did just have a baby last Friday, so I'm a little low on sleep. So, you know, take it easy if I don't respond right away. If I'm probably taking a nap, but thank you so much. Yes, it's been a fun week, just kind of learning how to be a dad. So, but yeah, Kick Butt Mortgage Guy on all the platforms that you would find. So if you need to reach out, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I'm very much available.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and catch us back here actually next week. We'll be back here next week with another awesome host. And yeah, we'll see you next week for Broker Connect. Everyone have a great weekend.